Each morning, before the world opens its mouth to speak to you, you must learn to silence everything that is not you. Do not reach for the phone. Do not reach for the noise. Do not even reach for your dreams yet. Reach for your center, because the first voice you listen to determines the power of your entire day. If you start your morning listening to the world, you become its servant. But if you start your morning listening to your own spirit, the world becomes your servant. Every morning is a sacred meeting between who you have been and who you are becoming. And in that meeting, you must learn the art of release. You must detach from the emotional residue of yesterday, the doubts, the frustrations, the triumphs, even the praise. You must let them all fall away. For the one who carries yesterday into today is like a traveler who packs rocks in his bag and wonders why the road feels heavy. There is no greater strength than the strength of emotional detachment. The weak are those who react to everything around them. The strong are those who remain inwardly still while the world shakes. The one who has mastered himself is unmoved by approval and unbroken by rejection. He knows that both are illusions designed to test his awareness. The truly awakened man understands that he needs no permission to feel powerful, no applause to feel worthy, and no validation to feel real. When you rise in the morning, take a few moments to withdraw your attention from the outer world and enter into the silence of your own being. Sit with your breath. Become aware of your heartbeat. Realize that within you lives the same intelligence that guides the stars, the same force that spins galaxies into motion. Feel that power. That is the real you. When you begin the day from that center, you no longer chase life, you command it. Most people begin their mornings in reaction. They awaken to worry, scroll through other people's lives, and compare their beginnings to someone else's endings. They step into the day as beggars of peace instead of givers of it. But when you start your morning with spiritual detachment, you rise as a creator. You declare silently to the universe, "Nothing outside me will control me today." You become calm, deliberate, decisive. You must understand detachment is not indifference. It is not coldness. It is confidence in motion. It is the awareness that you do not need to cling to anything for your joy to remain. Detachment says, "I will give my best, but I will not surrender my peace." It says, "I will love deeply, but I will not lose myself in anyone." It says, "I will pursue greatness, but I will not allow success or failure to define me." When you can wake up and look at your reflection in the mirror with quiet certainty, not because life is perfect, but because your spirit is steady, you have found the true beginning of power. You have found mastery over emotion, the highest form of intelligence, because the man who governs his emotions governs his world. Each morning, remind yourself, "I am not what happens to me. I am what I choose to become. I am not bound by yesterday's pain. I am born anew through today's awareness. The past no longer owns me. The future cannot intimidate me. I am free because I am unattached." This practice, this morning ritual of detachment, is the secret doorway through which transformation enters. It cleanses the mind of fear and clears the path for inspiration. It is in this stillness that your greatest ideas are born, your most aligned decisions made, and your truest power awakened. When the emotional storms of life come, you will not collapse. You will stand unmoved because you built your foundation in silence each morning. Do this every morning. Withdraw, breathe, detach, and return to your center. The moment you feel the grip of the world loosening, you will realize that you never needed control. You only needed connection to the divine intelligence within you. Then and only then will you walk through your days as one who does not merely live, but leads life itself. Mastery begins with detachment. Every morning, when the world still sleeps and the air is pure with the silence of dawn, you are presented with the most sacred opportunity of all, to return to yourself. This moment is the gateway to true transformation, the instant in which you decide whether you will live as the creator of your day or as a servant to it. To master your life, you must begin by mastering the first hour of it. And that mastery begins with the art of detachment. Detachment is not withdrawal from the world. It is the understanding that you are larger than the world's conditions. It is to look upon every circumstance, every emotion, every desire, and say, "You do not control me. I control how I meet you." The man who has learned to detach has already discovered freedom, because no power on earth can disturb the one who governs his own mind. Each morning offers you a chance to begin again, but few take it. They awaken carrying the heavy burdens of yesterday, the disappointments, the arguments, the regrets, the noise of unfinished thoughts, and so they enter the day already enslaved by their past. They call it responsibility, but it is actually bondage. True responsibility begins not with doing, but with being. It begins by meeting yourself before you meet the world. You must rise each morning and release what no longer belongs to you, the fears that whisper of your limitations, the doubts that echo from other people's opinions, the emotional shadows that haunt your memory. Until you let them go, you cannot truly begin to live today. When you detach from the residue of yesterday, you do not lose your humanity. You purify it. You return to the still, unshakable center of your being where clarity dwells. From that silence, power emerges. From that emptiness, creativity is born. The reason so many people wander through life confused and unfulfilled is not because they lack opportunity, but because they have never learned how to be still enough to hear their own inner voice. They rise in the morning and immediately drown in noise, the news, the phone, the endless chatter of a world that thrives on distraction. But the wise rise differently. They begin the day not by reaching outward, but by turning inward. They enter the inner sanctuary of their mind and make contact with the divine intelligence that governs all things. In that sacred meeting, they are reminded that they are not victims of circumstance, but vessels of purpose. Detachment is not the absence of emotion, it is the mastery of it. The detached man feels deeply, but is not enslaved by what he feels. He can experience joy without clinging to it, and pain without collapsing beneath it. He understands that every emotion is temporary, a wave that rises and falls within the ocean of his being. He observes his emotions as a witness, not as a prisoner. And in doing so, he gains the ability to respond to life with wisdom rather than react with fear. Each morning, when you awaken and sit in silence, observe your thoughts as they appear. Watch them come and go. Do not wrestle with them, simply see them for what they are, movements of the mind, not the essence of who you are. The more you practice this observation, the more distance you create between yourself and your emotions. And in that distance lies your freedom. Mastery begins when you realize that peace is not something you chase, it is something you choose. The world will always present reasons to be disturbed, offended, anxious, or impatient. But the one who has learned detachment chooses stillness over reaction. He refuses to allow external circumstances to dictate his internal state. This is not weakness, it is power in its purest form. The weak are tossed by the winds of life. The strong remain grounded in their own awareness. The world cannot control a man who is inwardly free. He may lose possessions, face criticism, or encounter failure, but none of it shakes him, because his peace does not depend on what happens to him. It depends only on who he decides to be. Each morning you must consciously step into this truth. Before you engage with the demands of the day, remind yourself, I am the master of my emotions, the ruler of my thoughts, the architect of my energy. Stand in front of the mirror, not to judge your reflection, but to remember your essence. Speak quietly but firmly to your own soul. Say to yourself, nothing outside me will define me today. I will act, not react. I will lead, not follow. I will love without attachment, give without expectation, and move without fear. As you speak these words, you begin to align your consciousness with the higher intelligence that governs success and peace. Detachment does not mean disengagement from life. It means engaging with life from a place of inner wholeness. It is to live passionately but not possessively, to work diligently but without desperation, to dream boldly but without fear of loss. When you detach from outcomes, you release the pressure that blocks your creativity and inspiration. You stop chasing and begin attracting. The universe always responds to the frequency of your energy, and detachment raises that frequency to the level of clarity and confidence. Those who cling repel. Those who release invite. Those who beg push away their blessings. Those who trust draw them nearer. When you begin to practice morning detachment, you will notice a profound shift. Problems that once disturbed you will lose their power. People who once upset you will no longer have access to your peace. Situations that once frightened you will seem smaller, for you will have grown larger than them. The same world remains, but you will move through it differently, like a calm observer rather than a desperate participant. You will realize that peace was never meant to be found in the world around you, but in the world within you. And once you possess that inner peace, the outer world begins to shape itself around your stillness. Mastery begins with detachment, because detachment is the foundation of clarity, and clarity is the foundation of power. Every great accomplishment, every divine idea, every act of creation begins in silence. The one who learns to start his day in stillness holds dominion over the hours that follow. He does not wander through life waiting for conditions to align. He aligns himself and conditions follow. This is the secret known only to those who dare to meet the morning not as a continuation of yesterday, but as a birth of something new. Each morning, life offers you two choices: to repeat your past or to recreate yourself. Detachment is the doorway to the second choice. It frees you from the illusions of control, from the slavery of emotion, from the tyranny of reaction. It awakens in you the awareness that you are the creator, not the creation, the cause, not the effect. And once you understand this truth, you begin to live as a master among men, commanding your destiny through the quiet authority of your mind. So when dawn approaches and your eyes open to the light, do not rush. Do not reach for the noise of the world. Sit in the silence of your own power. Feel the pulse of life within you. Remember that you are not the storm, you are the calm within it. You are not the waves, you are the ocean that holds them. You are not the noise, you are the silence that gives it meaning. Mastery begins here, in this still, sacred moment of detachment, and from that stillness, all greatness unfolds. Hebrew, emotional independence is the highest form of spiritual power. Each morning when you awaken, you are given the chance to decide whether you will rule your emotions or allow them to rule you. Most people wake up already enslaved, dragged down by feelings they did not choose, carrying invisible chains of anxiety, doubt, and fear. They believe these emotions are real, that they define who they are, but emotions are not masters, they are messengers. They come to reveal the state of your inner world, not to dictate your destiny. The moment you begin to understand this, the moment you rise above emotional dependency, you become truly powerful. You become the architect of your day, not its victim. Every morning, before the day takes hold, you must reclaim ownership of your emotional state. You must pause and remind yourself that nothing outside you holds the authority to disturb your peace. You are not a creature of circumstance. You are a creator of condition. It is easy to forget this truth when life's noise grows loud. It is easy to let the opinions of others, the disappointments of yesterday, or the uncertainty of tomorrow infiltrate the mind. But when you awaken and center yourself in emotional independence, you reestablish your throne. You rise as the ruler of your inner kingdom. The man who depends on the outer world for his emotional stability will forever remain weak. His joy will rise and fall with other people's moods. His peace will vanish at the first sign of conflict. He will chase approval as if it were oxygen, not realizing that his need for validation is what suffocates him. True independence is found when your sense of worth no longer requires confirmation. You must learn to affirm yourself before the world has the chance to do it for you. When you wake in the morning, remind yourself that your emotions are servants of your will, not the other way around. Tell yourself, I will feel what I choose to feel, not what my circumstances demand. This is not denial, it is discipline. Emotional independence does not mean the absence of feeling, it means the mastery of feeling. The emotionally free man feels everything, yet he is owned by nothing. He can walk through pain without losing purpose, through disappointment without losing dignity, through success without losing humility. He knows that emotions are energy in motion, and energy can be directed. He channels his emotional energy into creation, purpose, and progress instead of reaction. Each morning, when you wake and choose peace over panic, gratitude over gloom, clarity over confusion, you are shaping the vibration of your entire day. You are commanding your reality from the inside out. The world teaches dependence. It teaches that happiness comes from possession, from recognition, from love received. But happiness born of dependency is fragile. It collapses when the conditions that sustain it are removed. The wise man knows that happiness cannot be borrowed from the world. It must be generated from within. When you wake, before you speak a word or touch a screen, pause and breathe. Place your hand over your heart and feel its rhythm. That heartbeat is proof that everything you need to be whole already exists within you. You are not lacking anything. You are only learning to remember your sufficiency. Emotional independence is the realization that you are already complete. I beware when you beg. In to live from this place, something miraculous occurs. The world stops controlling you. The words of others lose their sting. The unpredictable shifts of life no longer unsettle your foundation. You stop being reactive and start being creative. Instead of allowing emotions to dictate your actions, you use awareness to guide them. You no longer ask, "How do I feel today?" You ask, "What do I choose to feel today?" That single question separates the unconscious from the awakened. Those who live unconsciously are emotional slaves. They react to every impression. The awakened man chooses his vibration before the world can offer him one. Each morning, you must build your emotional foundation before stepping into the noise of the day. This is done not through rushing or striving, but through stillness. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, and observe what arises. You might feel restless, distracted, or heavy with the residue of yesterday. Do not resist it. Observe it as you would clouds passing across the sky. Each thought, each emotion, each worry is just passing weather. The sky, the real you, remains unchanged. When you realize this truth, you become unshakable. Emotional independence also requires forgiveness, not only of others, but of yourself. Every morning, release the need to be perfect. Release the resentment toward your past. You cannot be emotionally free if your heart remains chained to yesterday's pain. Forgiveness is not for the one who hurt you. It is for the one who deserves peace, you. To forgive is to reclaim the energy you once gave to bitterness and return it to creation. When you awaken and forgive, you are not forgetting what happened. You are choosing to be free from its control. That is true independence. Hebrew. You must also detach from the need to control outcomes. Emotional dependency often disguises itself as excessive control, the desire to manipulate results, to force life to move at your command. But emotional mastery requires trust. It requires faith in divine timing. When you release the urge to force and choose instead to flow, you enter alignment. Every morning, remind yourself that life unfolds in perfect order. Your role is not to dictate how it happens, but to remain steady as it does. Trust that what is meant for you cannot be lost, and what is not meant for you cannot stay. This understanding will save you from unnecessary suffering. Hey, bro, emotional independence transforms your relationships. When you no longer need others to complete you, you can finally love them freely. You stop demanding energy and start sharing it. You stop expecting and start appreciating. The love of an emotionally independent soul is powerful because it is pure. It is not born from lack, but from overflow. When two emotionally free people meet, they do not cling, they connect. They walk beside each other, not behind or ahead. Each morning, remind yourself that love is not possession, it is presence. To love without attachment is to love divinely, your emocho. Enes are instruments, not rulers. Just as a musician masters his instrument to create harmony, so must you master your emotions to create peace. Each morning, tune your instrument before playing the music of your day. Set your emotional tone consciously. Choose gratitude as your melody, faith as your rhythm, peace as your harmony. Do not wait for the world to play the right notes, become the composer. Emotional independence means you no longer wait for good days, you create them. There is a silent authority that radiates from the emotionally independent. When such a person enters a room, others feel their calm before a word is spoken. It is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the quiet confidence of someone who no longer seeks to prove anything. Their energy says, I am whole, and therefore I do not need to perform for approval. Each morning as you awaken, you must cultivate that authority within yourself. You must choose peace over panic, purpose over distraction, and trust over control. The world will continue to test your independence. It will send you challenges, provoke you with opinions, and tempt you with illusions of comfort. But remember, no test exists to break you. It exists to reveal your mastery. Every time you choose calm over chaos, patience over impulse, faith over fear, you strengthen your spiritual muscle. You are training your soul to respond like a creator, not a creature of circumstance. Emotional independence is the birthplace of true freedom. It is the realization that no one can disturb your peace without your permission. When you wake each morning and reclaim that truth, you begin to live as a master of life, not its slave. You move through the day untouchable, not because the world is perfect, but because you no longer need it to be. You have discovered the greatest secret of all, that the power you seek was never in the world. It has always been within you. Stillness is the throne of command. In stillness, a man finds his power, for it is there that he communes with the invisible intelligence that governs all creation. The mind that begins its day in silence holds dominion over the day. Every morning, before the machinery of the world awakens, you must sit in that sacred space where nothing moves except your awareness. That silence is not emptiness. It is the meeting place between your human mind and your divine nature. It is there that clarity is born, decisions are purified, and power takes form. The man who begins his day in stillness does not chase control. He embodies it. He does not fight chaos. He neutralizes it with presence. Most people fear silence because it confronts them with themselves. They fill their mornings with noise, music, messages, news, endless talking, believing they are being productive, yet they are merely running from their own reflection. They do not realize that the noise outside is nothing compared to the noise within. Thoughts scream for attention, emotions beg for reaction, and desires pull them in 1,000 directions. And so they rush into the day already divided, already lost. But the one who chooses stillness commands both the inner and the outer world, for he enters the day already whole. Stillness is not inactivity, it is preparation. It is the deliberate act of aligning yourself with the higher intelligence that governs all things. When you sit in silence each morning, you are not wasting time. You are tuning yourself to the frequency of wisdom. Just as a musician must tune his instrument before he performs, so must the mind be tuned before it engages with life. When your mind is still, it becomes clear. And when it is clear, it becomes powerful. The world bends before the one whose mind is quiet and focused, because that person moves with certainty, while others move with confusion. The man of stillness, sees life differently. While others are agitated by appearances, he perceives cause. While others react to circumstances, he responds with awareness. He does not speak before understanding, nor act before clarity. His decisions carry weight because they are born from quiet conviction, not emotional turbulence. Each morning, when you sit in silence and withdraw from thought, you are reclaiming this ancient power, the power to choose consciously, to act deliberately, to command reality rather than drift through it. Stillness is the gateway through which divine guidance enters. Inspiration does not shout, it whispers. The universe speaks in quiet tones that can only be heard when the noise of the world fades. In the stillness of dawn, when your mind is empty and your heart is open, the ideas that can change your life are revealed. The next step in your journey, the solution to your problem, the opportunity you seek, they all exist in that silence, waiting for your awareness to become still enough to receive them. Every great creator, every visionary soul has known this truth. They did not act from confusion, they acted from inner alignment. Their power was not in the volume of their thoughts, but in the depth of their silence. When you practice stillness each morning, you begin to notice a profound change. Life slows down even as the world speeds up. You see patterns where others see chaos. You recognize lessons where others see loss. You become calm in situations that would once have shaken you, and in that calmness lies your authority. The world is drawn to those who are not moved by it. People follow those who radiate peace because peace is power. When you are still, you become magnetic. Your energy shifts from desperation to direction, from fear to faith. Stillness also purifies your emotions. In silence, you begin to see that feelings come and go like waves, but you remain constant beneath them. You are not your anger, your fear, your sadness, or even your excitement. You are the awareness behind them all. Each morning, when you sit in stillness, you allow these waves to settle. You let the emotional sediment fall to touch bottom so that your inner waters become clear again. From that clarity, you can see truth without distortion. You begin to understand what is real and what is illusion. You no longer make decisions from restlessness, but from wisdom. This is the throne of command, the inner seat from which you govern your life with calm precision. Many will misunderstand this practice. They will say, I have no time to sit still. I must act, I must move, I must get things done. But the one who acts without stillness wastes energy, for he moves in many directions at once and accomplishes little. The man of stillness acts once with purpose, and his actions ripple with power. Just as an archer does not release the arrow before aiming, so must you align your spirit before taking action. Stillness is your aim, action is your release. Without stillness, action becomes reaction. With stillness, action becomes creation. The mind trained in stillness becomes a servant of your spirit rather than a master of your fears. Each morning, when you withdraw from thought and enter silence, you remind the mind of its rightful place. You say to it, be still and know that I am. In that knowing, the ego loses its grip and the soul takes command. You begin to feel your connection to something greater, the vast intelligence that moves through all things. You realize that you are not alone in shaping your destiny. You are co-creating with the infinite. But this realization cannot be forced. It must be felt in stillness. Stillness also strengthens intuition, the quiet voice of divine intelligence within you. When you are busy and anxious, intuition is drowned out by mental noise. But when you are calm, you hear its whisper clearly. It guides you toward right action, warns you against wrong paths, and reveals opportunities hidden from the frantic mind. Each morning, when you sit in stillness, you are training yourself to hear this guidance. You are learning the language of spirit. Those who live by intuition live with ease, not because life spares them difficulty, but because they navigate it with awareness instead of resistance. Hebrew. In stillness, time itself bends. Moments stretch and deepen, allowing you to experience the richness of existence. You begin to live deliberately, no longer rushing through life, but inhabiting it fully. The sun feels warmer, the air feels cleaner, and every breath becomes sacred. You see beauty where once there was blindness. You feel gratitude for things you once took for granted. Stillness awakens you to life's quiet miracles, reminding you that abundance was never about more. It was about awareness. Stillness also reveals truth, the truth of who you are beneath the layers of identity, title, and ambition. When you strip away the noise of the world, you meet the essence of your being. You see that you are not the body, nor the thoughts, nor the emotions. You are the consciousness that observes them all. That realization is liberation. It ends the endless struggle to prove your worth, because you finally see that worth is inherent, unshakable, divine. From that awareness, you no longer seek power, you become it. Each morning when you return to stillness, You remind yourself that everything you need already exists within. You no longer need to chase approval, outcomes, or recognition. You act, you create, you serve, not for validation, but from alignment. Your stillness becomes your compass. It tells you when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to pursue and when to let go. You become a master navigator of life, moving not by impulse but by insight. Stillness is the throne of command because it restores your connection to the eternal. In the silence of morning, when the world has yet to invade your mind, you meet the infinite part of yourself. That meeting is where real power begins, the kind of power that does not depend on circumstance, that cannot be shaken by failure or inflated by success. When you carry that stillness into your day, you walk as one who commands life, not because you dominate it, but because you are one with it. The man who begins his day in stillness rules his mind. The man who rules his mind rules his world. Ibrohi, detach to attract. This is the paradox that few ever understand, yet it governs the hidden law by which all manifestation unfolds. The more desperately you cling to what you desire, the further it drifts from you. The more you release it with faith, the more swiftly it returns. Every morning, before the demands of the world crowd your spirit, you must remember this eternal principle. Nothing you chase from fear can ever belong to you, and nothing meant for you will ever require your desperation to arrive. Detachment is not the absence of desire. It is the purification of it. It is the transformation of longing into trust, of craving into creation. When you learn to detach, you begin to attract not through force, but through alignment. Most people rise each morning already in pursuit, pursuing success, recognition, love, control. Their energy is restless, their thoughts scattered, their hearts anxious. They believe that by holding tightly to what they want, they can secure it. Yet the more they cling, the more they repel. Their very tension declares to the universe, "I do not have this thing." And the universe, responding to their vibration, mirrors that lack. What they do not understand is that attraction is not born from wanting, it is born from knowing. You do not attract what you beg for, you attract what you believe you already possess within. Detachment is that state of knowing. It is the calm assurance that what is meant for you is already making its way toward you, and therefore you no longer need to grasp for it. Ibruhat. Each morning you must cleanse your energy of attachment. Before you act, before you speak, pause and center yourself. Breathe and release the mental tension that clings to outcomes. Let go of the questions that breed. Fear. When will it happen? How will it happen? What if it doesn't? Those questions are the language of doubt, and doubt is the chain that binds your manifestation. Instead, speak the language of certainty. I trust that what is mine will find me. This is not passive resignation. It is spiritual precision. It is the understanding that your job is alignment, not control. You are not required to force the river. You are only required to flow with it. Ibrugri detachment is not disinterest, it is mastery. The detached man works with passion, but without anxiety. He plans, but he does not cling. He desires, but he does not depend. He gives his full energy to the process and then releases the outcome to the intelligence that governs all things. He does not need constant reassurance that things are happening. He knows that they are. This calm confidence is magnetic. It draws success, opportunity, and love because it operates on the same frequency as abundance. The universe does not respond to desperation. It responds to faith. Every morning when you awaken, you must choose faith over fear, trust over tension, surrender over struggle. To detach is to trust that life knows what you need better than you do. Often, what you desire may not be denied. It may only be delayed because something greater is preparing to take its place. Yet the impatient mind, bound by attachment, cannot see this. It wrestles, resists, and worries, unknowingly delaying the very blessing it seeks. But the one who practices detachment moves through delay with peace. He says, if not this, then something better. If not now, then in divine time. His energy remains pure, and his peace remains unbroken. That peace becomes the magnet for everything he desires. Detachment also frees you from the tyranny of expectation. Every morning, countless people set expectations for how life must unfold. They expect others to behave a certain way, events to occur according to their timing, dreams to manifest in their exact form. And when life dares to move differently, they suffer. Yet it is not life that hurts them. It is their attachment to how life should be. The detached mind moves with the flow of what is, not the fantasy of what should be. It accepts the perfection of every unfolding moment and uses each one as fuel for growth. The man of detachment does not fight reality, he works with it. And because he works with it, life works for him. When you detach, you become a vessel through which power moves freely. Attachment creates blockage, energetic resistance that halts the natural flow of creation. Imagine a clenched fist trying to hold water. The tighter the grip, the more the water escapes. But when the hand opens, the water rests easily within it. So it is with your desires. The more you relax your grip, the more life can place blessings into your open hands. Every morning, visualize yourself releasing control. Picture yourself standing still as waves of divine energy move around you, bringing into F form everything that aligns with your highest good. Kibro-kri. Detachment also reveals what is truly yours. When you cling to something, you may hold on to illusions, people who no longer serve your growth, situations that have outlived their purpose, or goals born from insecurity rather than inspiration. Detachment burns away illusion. It tests your desires to see which ones endure when the fire of control is removed. What remains after detachment is truth, and truth attracts truth. The opportunities that flow into your life from this space are pure. They resonate with your authentic path, not your ego's demands. There is immense spiritual discipline in learning to act without attachment. It requires that you give your all and yet remain at peace if things unfold differently than you imagined. This is the essence of mastery. Each morning, before you begin your work or your journey, affirm silently, I release the need to control outcomes. I act from purpose and trust divine order. Say it not as empty words, but as a declaration of alignment. When you truly mean it, you will feel a quiet strength rise within you, a strength that does not need to push because it already possesses. Hebrew detachment is also the highest form of love. To love while attached is to love conditionally. I love you because you make me feel secure, because you give me something, because you complete me. But to love while detached is to love purely. I love you because love flows through me, not because I need you to fill an emptiness. When you rise each morning and love without ownership, you release others to be who they are while freeing yourself from emotional dependency. In that freedom, love becomes deeper, richer, and more divine. Hey, bro, every day, life invites you to choose between control and trust. Control is born of fear. Trust is born of faith. When you awaken each morning and practice detachment, you are declaring your faith in the unseen intelligence that orchestrates the entire universe. You are saying, I trust that what is meant for me cannot miss me. That trust is a vibration, and that vibration is power. It calls forth people, events, and circumstances that match its frequency. The detached mind does not chase. It attracts effortlessly. When you move through your day detached, the world bends toward your energy. Doors open easily. Conversations align unexpectedly. Opportunities appear as if by miracle. Yet these are not miracles. They are the natural responses of a universe that has recognized a steady signal of certainty. Detachment is that signal. It tells the universe, I am ready to receive, but I am not desperate to possess. And the universe, hearing that vibration, delivers abundantly. Abrahi, detached to attract. Each morning as the sun rises, remind yourself of this law. Release your grasp. Trust your path and hold your peace. Act with intention, but remain free from outcome. In that freedom lies your greatest strength. In that stillness of trust, you become a magnet for all that is good, all that is true, all that is meant for you. For what is yours will never flee from you. It is only waiting for you to release the need to chase it. When you finally do, it will come to you with the quiet certainty of destiny fulfilled. Every transformation begins in the quiet of the morning, when the world has yet to claim your mind and your spirit still stands between what was and what can be. Each dawn is not merely the start of another day. It is an invitation to meet yourself anew, to rise not as the product of circumstance, but as the creator of destiny. When you master detachment, when you learn to sit in stillness, when you awaken with emotional independence, and when you begin each morning anchored in inner calm rather than outer noise, you ascend to a higher state of being. You are no longer moved by the chaos of the world, for your power flows from within. The one who meets the morning with silence commands the day with confidence. The one who rules his emotions rules his path. The one who detaches from outcomes becomes a magnet for every divine opportunity meant for his growth. Life ceases to feel like a battle and begins to reveal itself as a partnership between your intention and a greater intelligence that guides all things. So when you awaken tomorrow, remember this truth. Your first thoughts shape your fate. Your first breath sets your tone, and your first moment of awareness determines the quality of your entire life. Begin in stillness. Detach from fear. Choose peace. Speak to your spirit before the world speaks to you, because the way you start your morning is the way you shape your destiny, and those who learn to master their mornings will one day discover they have mastered life itself.